Good morning, folks. It is Two Sheds Gabby, and it is a bright, shiny Saturday morning, and my son and daughter-in-law are going to be here in a few hours. So I thought before they get here, I'm going to start on a box of pennies today, see how far along I get before they get here. I imagine I'll sit here at some point and finish up the box with my son here, so you may hear him in the background. We'll be chatting a little bit. But hoping to find some interesting things in this box of pennies. Who's that? Anyway, welcome aboard, and let's see what we can find today. Well, on the sixth row, I find a 12-sided Canadian copper. I have found a couple of 2009s, not super duper great, and an S cent, but that's all I've got so far. Hopefully it'll pick up a little bit more from that. I have found my coin opening knife, so I've got the Spyderco put away. And I just heard from my son. He's about an hour and a half away. Looking forward to spending the weekend with him and his wife. I have not seen a 2025 yet. I just had one of you guys write to me the other day and said you got a box of them. Whole box of 25s. Pretty cool. There's a 2009. Okay, well, that's three of those. They're not super duper shape, but three of them. Anyway, I think that person that found the box is going to sell the majority of them and keep a few, few rolls just to have. But hey, if you can make a little extra money on the side with our coin roll hunting, that's cool. Copper. Hey, look, everybody. I finally found me a 2023 with an extra V. It's real easy to find those. I didn't realize they were so easy to find. That's the only way I'm ever going to find one, if I make it myself. So far, this box ain't producing a whole lot, but we'll just keep going and see what we get. We're going to add a pound or two of copper regardless. I'm in my 14th roll, folks, and I finally get to my first Wheatie. And let's see what it is. The reveal. Ooh, look at that. 1920. Cool. 105 years old. That is really neat. Nice. That's cool. Like finding those old ones. My wife has gone to the grocery store to get a favorite of my family. We try to have them here when family members come. It's a chip dip, or a spread. It's called Benedictine, and it's kind of like there's an 83. It's a cucumber spread type thing, but it's different. It's not your typical cucumber spread. And we've been eating it in my family for a long time. It's made here. It's made here in Louisville. And I've never seen it anywhere else. I would imagine they get shipped somewhere else, but I've never seen it anywhere. And we love it. And we don't eat very many chips in my house anymore. And we have tried to get, we don't ever buy seed oils, but obviously, every now and then, a product will come in, will have some seed oil in it. But we buy chips now, and these particular chips we get are Boulder, I think. Here's a picture of them. 82. They have 3 ingredients. Potatoes, avocado oil, and sea salt. And they're not bad. They really aren't. They don't burst with flavor as much as some of these artificial things have, but they're good. And they sure can carry some some chip dip along, another thing that I find that I don't eat it like I used to because I don't eat bologna anymore, but I used to tear it up. It's pickled bologna. And I never found that anywhere besides here in Louisville. I've been to several places looking for. When I was in Louisiana, I looked all over for it, and I never found it. I've been in Colorado and several places. up in Indiana, where I lived in central Indiana. Nobody sold it up there. Let me know if any of you guys have ever heard of it. I think it's really good. I don't eat it much anymore because I don't eat, you know, when you watch them make bologna, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat that. This is now the 18th roll in the second wheat penny. 1945 Denver. Cool. I have found about 5 2009s now, a couple of S Mint memorials. You know, I was thinking about it. You know, we talk about hoarding copper, and because we think copper is going to go up and it's a store of value, and you know, you put away a 15 pound. I store them in 15-pound boxes, and that 15-pound box of copper is worth considerably more than just the face value of those coins. And I've even sold some. I've sold a few boxes this year, and I've made a nice little chunk of money. And now I'm, putting it back aside again. And I feel like sometimes when we go through these boxes, there's not as much emphasis on the copper, even though that's what I'm talking about, is I'm hoarding copper. And the other stuff is all bonus stuff, which is a lot of fun. And, we talk about it like getting a 100-year-old wheat penny is a lot of fun. But one of the reasons we're here is for that copper. When you're out metal detecting and you find some zinc pennies, this is often what you find, is stuff like this, where the rest of the penny is not as in bad a shape. So this one may not have been in the ground, but I find a lot of them with just eaten away like this. Holes all the way through them every now and then. They just don't last long in the ground. I am now in the second row, in the second half of this box, and we finally come to wheat penny number 3, a 1950D. Slim pickings on the Wheaties in this box, it seems. I'm so disappointed. Coinflation, which is, I check it daily to see prices for silver and copper. And it's so frustrating to see it down. It was down for about 3 days, and then yesterday it was back on for a little while. And then last night it was back down again. And this morning, again, it's not working. It's so frustrating. I'm in the 8th row now in the second half, and here is wheat penny number 4. Maybe they'll pick up just a little bit here in the second half. What do we have? 1945, Philadelphia. Wheatie number 4, cool beans. I came across something kind of delightful. It was the Siskel and Ebert review of Star Wars when it came out, and it said it was a 1977 review, and it was pretty cool to see those two guys as young men, and they really gave it a good rating. They said it's just delightful and regardless of your age, it takes you back to your childhood and blah blah blah. They said that it just took over number 1 in box office profit or whatever it was. Said before that it had been Gone with the Wind. Here's an 83. I'll weigh that fellow. And then Jaws. So you had Gone with the Wind for years and years, and then you had Jaws beat all of that. Can you guys remember how huge Jaws was when it came out? Oh my goodness. And then Star Wars came along and beat them all. My little brother, he's 7 years younger than me, and he was 10, or I forget, a youngster when it came out, and he just absolutely loved it. I was a teenager, long-haired, into my drinking and drugging at that time, so it didn't mean as much to me at the time. But my little brother just went wild over it. Hey, the very next roll, folks, and here's wheat penny number 5. So we've already done better in the second half than we did the first half, so that's cool. This one looks like a 1946 Denver. Very cool. Maybe we'll Get up there close to the 10 mark after all. We're halfway there now. 83. That last 83, of course, was zinc. I tell you, sometimes you can just, I'm getting, you see them so many. You can almost pick out the 1982s without weighing them or drop them or anything and just say that one's zinc, that one's copper. I still weigh them just to make sure because every now and then I'm wrong, but I'm right most of the time. Hey, here's the next roll again in wheat penny number 6. This is a 1946 Philadelphia. And somewhere along the, I messed my count up there somewhere. This is the 5th row in the second half. I still have 20 rolls to go in the second half. And so I looked over at the wrappers, and I believe I thought that I was like 8 or 10 in, but the first, I do things weirdly. But anyway, I was in like the 3rd and 4th row, not like the 8th row. And this is the 5th row in the second half with 20 rolls to go. I've got like a 3 cents now, and golly, 6 or 7 2009s. None of them are super great condition. They're all pretty well circulated. Every now and then you get a couple of them that are just really nice. And I forget to weigh them half the time, but I've read that they look differently. I've got a packet of some, but I haven't taken a close look. One of these days I'll have to really go through my 2009s that I've got rolled up and see if I have overlooked a copper. It's possible. Here is Wheatie number 7, and this is the 7th row in the second half of the box. And we have, it's another 1945 Denver. Well, they've come along pretty good there. I feel like now I've got a shot at my 10, even though in the first half we only had 2. I was out. I went to the post office and then had to go pick up some stuff at my brother's yesterday, and I turned the radio on. We've got that Cirrus now. And the John Lennon song Imagine came on. It's got a nice sound to it. And, he wanted you to imagine there's no heaven or hell and there's nothing else, just the sky above you. And I was thinking about that. And of course, he was saying that there's more than me that thinks this way. But if there's no incentive beyond this life, really, what is the incentive for mankind? It's like eat, drink, and be merry because this is all there is. And then, I just don't think it's realistic to think of humanity as just, let's just be sweet and kind. It's a nice thought. But it's like there's no threat of like if you do a crime of prison. It's just it's just a brotherhood of man. We live for the most part understanding and with an internal realism that there is something beyond this life. A lot of us don't know what it is. A lot of humans, and they don't know how to put their finger on it. But almost everybody lives in people push it away. They say they're atheists. Even most of them, when you push comes to shove, they think there's something else. Anyway, it's a pleasant sounding song, but it's not realistic. I just came across another 2009 Memorial. This is the nicest one I have found yet in this box. That one's pretty nice. It's a Denver. Yeah, that one's pretty good. I can't get that song out of my head. I was thinking about, think of all recorded history, there's a certain element of people. Oh, there's a Canadian, but it's not copper. You know, throughout all history, you've got people who just don't do right. There's another 2009. There's quite a few in this box. But now John Lennon came along and said, let's all be happy and live in peace. Like, oh, well, okay. Let's do that. You know, when it's been proven that when there's been the least amount of crime is when you have a society that has a mostly family nucleus, mother and father in the home, raising kids with a belief system in God. When the more society that you have with that model, the least crime you have. And it's just been proven over and over. I found this 68S, and here it is under the Tom Love. And I don't think I see anything. Let me know if you see anything. Thank you. Well, I had several rolls there with nothing. No more wheats, that is. And here, with 3 rolls to go, wheat penny number 8. 1948 Denver. Cool. Pretty respectable after just 2 in the first half. I was thinking about 82, what I was talking about earlier. Oh, there's a pretty good looking 75. Look at that. 75 Denver. It's pretty nice. And I was thinking about, you know, people who, 83, I'll weigh that in. Families that worship God, you know, in the nucleus, and there's less crime, but also there is eternity afterwards. And I wanted to point out that according to the Bible, if you are a believer in Jesus, there's a way to worship Jesus. There's a lot of people out there that say, well, I worship him in my way. Well, that's kind of like if you lived in a dictatorship where there's a king and he had certain rules, and the people that work there for him, they come along and say, we found this fella. He doesn't keep your rules, but he says that he honors you his way. You know what's going to happen? He's going to say, off with his head. Jesus has a way. There's a passage in the Bible that says, many will say, you know, they've done all these deeds in my name, and I'm going to say, depart from him, I never knew you. That's because they did it their way, or maybe somebody else's way that wasn't his way. Folks, we've got to read our Bibles, our New Testament. We do use the Old Testament as a guide, but for learning, here's another Wheatie. There's number 9. That's really cool. 54. That's the second one from the 50s. But Jesus nailed the Old Testament on the cross. That's not the law we live under anymore. And you read the New Testament and you do what it says. And if you don't understand it, that's at 83, I got away. Then find somebody who can help you understand it. Would you look at that? 1 row left to go, 1951D, wheat penny number 10. I really, really wasn't expecting to get my 10, and I did. That's really cool. I'm just going to say a couple more little things, and I'll get off my soapbox. I apologize. If you find a person who knows the Bible to help you with it, don't just take one person's word for it. If you ask me something and I answer it, do your research. You know, study, figure it out. Oh, there's a nice looking 59. Your soul depends on it. You know, don't take that lightly. Wheat penny number 11, 1958. Number 11. All right, I'm done, folks. Appreciate you bearing with me. I'm done with that. I'll never be done, but I'll stop for now. I'm never done. I don't know if I've got my 3 pounds or not, because I'll have some rolls that's got really good copper, but then I'll get a couple with 2 or 3. That's been the story of my life, hasn't it? We'll see. Well, I ended up with 11 wheat pennies. How about that? And one of them is over 100 years old. That's cool. And I've weighed my 82s and I put the copper ones in here. I've done all this before my son got here. I thought sure he would have gotten here before I was finished. Let's weigh these. I think I've got my 3 pounds. It feels good. Oh yeah, 3 pounds, 3 ounces. So it's been a good about 3 pounds of copper, 11 wheat pennies. Pretty cool. Thanks for watching, folks. And we'll see you on the next video.